In this tutorial in CyberLink PowerDirector, we're going to give you some tips on making impactful titles that really fit the mood and the flow of the introduction of your production. Anybody can put text on the screen, but to make it really fit means you have to pay attention to two key elements: timing and motion. So we're going to focus on those in this tutorial. Please look at this example, and then we'll show you how to use these techniques on your titles. So what we're going to do first of all is play a few seconds of this. We have a video of a river, and then we have our background music. Okay, one of the things we want to do is make sure that the titles fit the music beat. So we have to adjust it by setting some beat markers for our audio. So I click on the audio track, and then I right click and I choose clip marker. Now this is not intuitive at all. Clip marker, and then I click on add music beat marker. And so you can do this by simply detecting. I prefer to use manually, so I'll click on the add button, but the shortcut key, as you see as I hover over that, is the A key. So I'm going to hover my finger over the A key, and where I want a marker, I'm going to simply press that as I play it. So I click on the play button, and then I'm going to press the A key appropriately. That works. So I just have 4 beat markers. Now the problem with these is if I'm going to watch the beat markers when I work on the titles, I either have to work on the titles on the main screen, but I rather work in the title editor. But these beat markers will not show up in the title editor. They have to be on the timeline track. So I have to replicate them. How do you do that? Well, to move between them, you simply hold the Shift key down and hit the left and right arrow key on the keyboard. So that will help me find where they're at. And then what I want to do when I'm on the first one, I'll right click and I'm going to click on add timeline marker. Now I tried pressing the M key, but when you press the M key, it will affect the marker on the audio track, not the timeline track. So I have to actually click on add timeline marker, and it will replicate it up there. So I press the Shift key again, right arrow, and I repeat the process: right click, timeline marker, shift right arrow, right click, add timeline marker, one more to go, shift right arrow, and we go right click and add timeline marker. So now I have the timeline markers where I can use them in the title room. So now the next step is for me to create a title. So what I'm going to do is go to my title room, and I'm going to click on plain text and my title. And let's drag it to the track, and we'll change the duration. We'll make it fit our project. So the next thing I do is I can right click on my title and click on advanced title editing. That will get me into my advanced mode. I want to do that because I want to stack the titles together, and I also want to go away from solid colors. So I can only do the gradient color when I'm in this mode. So first of all, let's take the title and change the content of it. I'll call it Etcher River. And we're going to change the font face. I'm just going to type over the one I want, Impact. And we'll change the size to a 36. And now I'm going to go from solid to gradient. Here's a couple tips on working with gradient. To change the gradient, you go to the stop and click on the color button. I'm going to do that right now. I want it a darker blue, so all I need to do is drag down here, and you see I have a slightly darker blue color. Click on OK. I also want the blue to be more prominent, so I'm going to add another marker. I'll click on the plus for gradient stop, and I can move this wherever I want. It will inherit the value, but we'll put it right here and we'll make it a little more blue. And if I want it even more so, I click on the color on that stop, and I can change and darken that as well. And so it changes the lighting effect on it. The other thing I want to do is I want to add a shadow. So I'm going to click on the shadow button. I like black shadow, but I don't like 3. I'm just going to type in 1.5, half that much, and now I have my first title. That looks good. Now I want to add another one, so I'm going to click on the title in the upper right-hand corner. The default will always be it will start in the center, and it will inherit all the characters of the previous element. So I'm going to call this one Canoe Expeditions, only we're going to change the size of it. And the position of it. And let's change the color. So I go to each of the color stops, click on color. Let's go into the green family on this one. I'll have to do that on the second one as well. Click on OK. Now I want a third title. And the third one we're simply going to put in the web address. Only in this case, we're not going to go with a gradient. We're going to go with a solid color. And let's change the font. Click the down arrow. We'll use this one here. We'll change our color. I'm going to pick a solid white. And we'll bring it over here. And now we have our 3 titles. Now this is where the timing is going to come in. First title, I'll click on that, make sure I have that, and we're going to change how it comes in. We're going to add animation to each of these. Let's click on our animation tab at the top. And unfortunately, there's no search here. I wish there was. I'm going to click on Grow. Okay, now it grows. But I want the growth to stop at the beat here. So there's 2 ways I can do it. I can change the duration on the slider up at the top. The easier way for me is simply to grab it right here and drag it right to the beat marker. So I've got my Esher River. It grows to the beat. Now the next thing is my Canoe Expeditions. I want to make sure I click on that one. And that one will not start until the beat. And I also want to add animation to that. And so with that clicked on, I'm going to be in my animation tab. And let's do a surge on this one. Here's the surge. Click on that. And what I want that one to do again is time that movement to the next beat. And then we have our web address, which is our third one. And again, that will come in later. And let's add another one to that. We'll do a wipe right for this one for animation. I move to the location where that animation is found and click on it. And again, we'll change the duration right here. So let's see what that looks like when we time it to the music. Let's stop that, stop the play. Now we're going to add a phone number, so I'll click up here for title. We'll do a phone number. And let's change the properties of that to make it different. Let's just change the color in this case. We'll go to an orange, make it stand out. And for animation, let's do this one here. Okay, so we'll need to take our phone number and move it to this element here. Have it come in during between the beats. One more change and where it looks like we've got this. I have too many digits in the phone number. And I don't really like the way that comes in. I probably would make that one come in faster and not actually match the beat. So we'll edit both of those. We'll take a digit out. Okay, that looks halfway decent. Now you can save it by clicking on Save As. If you want to save it for a future reference, and simply give it a name. I can call this River Titles and click on OK. Now we're back to our main screen, and we would basically get the same thing you just saw on your screen before. So that's a way to try to make sure that your timing and your motion of your titles really fit what you want to do in CyberLink Power Director.